Hello, Al Hajj. How are you? Number one today. Sandeep, thank you. Male 25 from India. Good to see you, Sandeep. And thank you, Sandeep Chan. I'm good and delighted to be here and maybe share an hour or two with you guys. It's sunny here. I can see people are at the pool. And I've been swimming for the past month or so, almost every day. Not exactly, but almost. Somewhere between 700 to 1200 meter a day, or every time that I'm at the pool. And I stopped going to the gym for about a month and a half because it was summertime. Did biking and took my soccer ball, went to the field and run around and swimming. But last couple of days, I started back to the gym. It feels good to be there again and to train differently. So. So it looks like we are too early or too late for some people on Sunday. It's only El Hajj, Sandeep, and me. And the rest are either sleeping or gave up on us today. Sandeep says, sir, I had best days in childhood. Good. As I am 90s kid. Aha. Same as my son. I enjoyed outdoor games a lot. Sometimes I miss a lot those days and get emotional. How should I stop getting emotional from those good memories? Well, it's not a bad emotion. I can get emotional thinking about my childhood and the fun that I had and those things, but these are emotions of joy, that how wonderful it was and how you miss it. Enjoy it, celebrate it, enjoy it, embrace it, but only for a short time. And once the enjoyment, you had your tea and you thought about it and you enjoyed it, kind of took a vacation in your mind, being in that wonderful positive time, and you remembered all the purity and simplicity of life when you were a child, no responsibility, no nothing. And then when you finish enjoying that and finishing your tea, and then realize that that is something you can always go back to it and enjoy it. But that's like a delicacy. It's not supposed to be the main course of your life. It's a little sweet, it's a little spice that sometimes you can refer back to it when things are a little tough, and you can rest there, find refuge, find security in that memory, and then come back to real life and say, okay, now I'm going to do my best to build a good life so I can give that sort of thing back to myself or maybe to my children. And simply on that note, you focus on the now, on the present, on the reality, on the actuality, and don't live in your memory, because memory is a place where mind tries to find order, because things are there and everything is known. That's why we call it the field of the known. Everything is known and mind feels secure. That's why it keeps going in there. And it happens for many other things, not just for the good childhood memories. People who break up constantly go to their memory because that's where they find order, where everything is known and everything, they're used to it and they're familiar how it was, so they go through that memory, live their lives in their memory, which is robbing themselves of their real life. A little bit of a moment of finding good, funny, happy memories, that's fine. But staying in there, then you will rob yourself from getting out and going out and finding out other people, other friends, other relationships, and so on, because you found your mind to be comfortable in that memory, but you don't want to be there. Use it as a spice, enjoy, comparison, and then come back to where it's real action and real life is happening. So that's perhaps something you can focus on. And Roxana, hello. Good to see you again, Roxana. Salam, Roxana. Harshil Marwa, why don't you start sponsorship on your YouTube channel? I don't know how it is. I don't know what that means, Harshil. What does sponsorship still means? I still don't know. All I know is Patriots, which I'm a member of, which of course I never hear anything from it. No action. I know about Super Chats, which they're just kind of, I don't know, silly, like $1 or $2 here doesn't help the channel that much. But sponsorship, I've heard of it, but I haven't delved into it to know what it is or how it works. Roxana says, Dear Mehran, I had issues with my dad growing up, and a lot of fights and arguments. And now every relationship I have with guys, even though it's toxic, I get so into it that I can't get out. Elaborate more, Roxana. What do you mean you get so into it? What does it have to do with your dad? Elaborate so we can discuss it. Mind you, I have a very good view I never noticed. It's sunny day, trees, ocean. I can see a little bit of it. There's an outdoor pool we have in the complex. People are swimming, enjoying themselves. Cars moving about in the street. Quite pleasant. Roxana says, just like the relationship with my dad, and it's like it's synced to those issues. I don't know what to do. Give me one issue, one or two issues. We should separate that. Perhaps, from what I know from most, not all, most Iranian fathers who naturally have a background of domination and dictatorial, because the country has always been pretty much under a sort of a dictatorship, even though it is called democratic, but not really. And that trickles down to every individual. Every individual in a society somehow is influenced and mimics, copies the role of the leader and brings it out into his own family as his own role. So if a country is dictatorial, there's more chance of families, head of a family, being a dictatorial person and conduct himself or herself in that way. And in Iran, mostly due to traditions and the way the systems were, fathers are overly dictatorial. And it's not because they're bad people. They're very nice people, good-hearted and all that. But it's an influence of the government that they have. They are pressured out there by their government, their rules and their laws, which pretty much is not a rule of law, it's just rule of force. They bring that and turn their own family into a little unit like the government behaves. And they want to exert and establish their authority in their own home, and they behave as if everything should be the way they want it to be, so they can at least feel they're existing. Because out there, they're shitting on their heads. They can't get anywhere because the government is pushing down on them hard. So when they come home, they bring all that with them and try to dominate their wives, their children, and have everybody be like a military. Listen to them and abide by their rules. So pretty much democracy goes out the window. But still, they're wonderful people. They don't mean harm. It's just that they're stuck in that vortex. Now, you must have had lots of back and forth with your dad, trying to resist and negotiate his position, which you found it out of date or not working for you. So you're conditioned to fight. You're conditioned to try to prove to yourself, to a man, because father was a man. So every man that you see, you automatically think they want to dominate you. They might, but even if they're not, you think they are the smallest thing they say. So you go on the defense and then you go on the offense. Just because the fear of what you had with your father, that you don't want to end up living under that kind of atmosphere and rule. So you become overly protective of yourself when you are in a relationship. And of course, boys in Iran, mostly, again, they're following the same kind of a shitty behavior as most of the authorities in the country are behaving. And they are under pressure. Everybody's pushing them. And the whole atmosphere of the culture that they're a man, therefore they gotta rule and all that, even though if they know nothing and they're full of shit, they still want to be considered as they are the leader. But what good is a leader when the leader doesn't know shit? We have many countries in the world that they're leaders. They're leaders. They're there somehow. And you know, one of them very famous today. But he doesn't know really what to do, and he's really a menace, you know, with his behavior and to his own society. So there are many leaders like that. And in Iran, young men all think that their statement of manhood is how to dominate a woman, because that's where they can show they've got some backbone. Otherwise, they've got really no choice when they're out there dealing with their lives. They have no power. The power is in the hands of the authorities, and often is unfair, so they're acting out. Now, you are aware of all these and you're trying to protect yourself, so every relationship that you're in, the guy is trying to manipulate you or say something, and you're a freedom lover and you like to be in control of your own life, and you go on the offensive, and then they don't understand how to treat a woman, and they still want to dominate. They think that's how the people around them and their families and friends will think of them as a manly, because they have a control of their woman, and all that shit blows up and makes you feel and react the way you do, and the relationship is toxic. It's not because of your dad, it's not because of you, it's because of the person that you're in a relationship with. So you got to choose better. Simple. Get rid of him until the right one shows up. Let's put it this way. I don't know if that was something that oh, let's see. You've said things while I was talking. She says, I mean, the more arguments I have with a guy, more I get into the thing that I have to work this out and solve it, instead of letting it go. Oh, I see. Because you think that you're still the continuation of the story you had with your father. You think by proving to these guys, then you have accomplished a certain kind of a resolution with the situation you had with your dad. Separate them. They're not your dad. Put them at their place, and you know, deal with your dad separately. That's a different position and different relationship. And the guys who are in your life, you know, just protect your freedom and your rights, and don't be a pushover. Set it straight from the beginning. But if they're good people and they're fair and they're polite and respectful and loving and caring, then don't overdo it, thinking that, oh, I got to make sure that it doesn't go, you know, to the wrong angle, and overprotective, and then you do more than you should. Then that creates a little problem by itself. So, you know, gotta find the balance in there. And Roxana says, yeah, he's like that, and it still is. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's all right. Try to focus on the good things about your dad, and try to understand, as long as you're living with them, these things will go on until you have your own life. But don't let that be a reason for you to get married, just because you think, oh, if I get married with this guy, even though he's not that good, or he's shitty, or he's got problems, but at least it will get me out to in my own home, or with the husband, and then I will be having my own life. Don't think that way, because you're going to get messed up even in that house, because who knows what that's going to be like. And your reason to marry the guy just for getting away from your own situation, that's not a good reason to choose a husband in any relationship at all, or any relationship. So be careful of that. Don't let your relationship or discomfort in communication and exchange your interaction with your dad cause you to make a decision which you would normally otherwise would not make, because you would not think this guy is qualified. But you may forgo all that sensitivity or standards just because you want to get away from this situation and feel independent. But you know, in Iran, women are not that independent. They look like they are, but not really. When it push comes to shove, in the eyes of the law, they're always going to be at the disadvantage. So, you know, make sure you make the right choices and be very clear and focused when you want to make such big decisions. And also remember, if you ever got married, make sure, I learned that from a lawyer, make sure that at the marriage you request authority to divorce, one-sided, meaning you request and it will be respected. You don't need the permission of the husband or agreement of the husband or anybody else in order to apply and register a divorce. It should be by your decision. Remember, whenever you get married, no matter how much you love the guy, in that neck of the wood, you make sure you will include in the contract of the marriage that you are capable and authorized to unilaterally register, apply, and put to effect a divorce when and if should it come necessary. All right, Sandeep says, as your senior and most experienced, sir, please tell us something, Mehran, about your life and different experiences you faced, which we would learn from it. We would love to hear that. Well, there's so many things. My life is not like 1 or 2 pages. I am almost 63 years old within the next couple of months. And so many different tangents and avenues and paths I have crossed and experienced. And that's why it needs your questions in order to discuss about that particular viewpoint, rather than just talking about whatever random experiences. There are so many. It could be many books. I don't think that would be why we're here, but I appreciate what you're saying. The Raf says, hello, good sir. Mark, 34 UK. Hello, Mark. Nottinghamshire, home of Robin Hood. Yes, Nottingham. Yeah, Nottingham Forest. Sheriff of Nottingham, the bad sheriff. Roxana says, that's exactly the case. Dominating woman and relationship. It's so fucked up. Yes, it sure is. Poor woman in that neck of the wood. And Roxana says, thanks, Mehran. Oh no, getting married would be the whole new problem. Yeah, I know. And Roxana says, I want to get out of here. I'm working on it. I don't want to live in this country. Okay. Okay, you will focus on it and you will prevail. There's nothing you can't do. Even in that country, there's nothing you can't do. Woman, man, it doesn't make any difference. If you're prepared, smart, educated, wise, you're capable, you can do anything you want to accomplish in this life. You can be anything you want to be. So get your affairs together and focus on your goals and make them come to fruition. And they will. So let's see who I have jumped over here. Vivi says, hi Mehran, 30, male, California. Yes. Why do I still have moments of being heartbroken over my ex-wife? I know she doesn't deserve it, but my heart still feels how to gain control over my emotions in this case. Vivi says, thank you, Mehran, for being there and sharing your experiences and wisdom. Stay away from the dark side. Yeah, I'm staying close to the green side today. What a drink. What an amazing drink. I found this recently. and I add a little bit of my own touch into it, which is extra lemon. It's an amazing drink. It has everything: kale, watercress, parsley, lettuce, broccoli, apple, what's that vegetable that has iron? Spinach, lemon. It's just amazing. Yum yum. So good for you. So, Vivi, what you're missing, you know. Or to understand what you're missing, you have to focus on what you're made out of, what every human being is made out of. What are the impressions that we receive? What is it that we feel from an experience from each other? For that, you need to focus. Okay, hold on to your seats, guys. It's going to be a bit of talking, but it's very important. You have to focus on how you're put together. Recognize the ingredients that has gone to work to bring about you, your wife, other people, everybody. And we've discussed that before in different videos. That is the mind and the body. Our existence, the entity that you know of and you're experiencing right now in this life, is not all about the avatar. It's not all about your physical being. It's in many parts. Two parts of it is your physical being, what you see, the flesh and bone. And the other part is what makes it tick, your mind. And of course your mind, we can go through it deeper, is your consciousness based on the conditionings that you've received, depending on which tribe you come from, what part of the world you've been raised, what you've been exposed, and all these other things that has been put together and stored in your consciousness, making you to be who you are, your center. Then through your life you go through recognition of certain mechanical processes that you do. Whether you're in a relationship or single, you have a certain mechanical process, things that you do. From the morning you get up, wash up, clean up, have your tea or coffee, breakfast. Where you go to have your breakfast, is it at home or is it outside? Where you stop by, you go to work, you go by bus or drive. People you see, newsstands you stop by, the office you go, the work you do, the clients you see, the groups you join, the syndicates you join, the clubs you belong to, places you go for sport, things for relaxation you do, activities that you're involved in, professional or leisure, people you hang out with, places you go for dinner, vacations, everything that you do is your mechanical process. Through these certain mechanical processes, which have their own order, their own sequences throughout your day, mostly they're in certain ways, and that is what creates your order. You have an order. Whether you're single, you're in a relationship. When you get into a relationship from single life, like you have a girlfriend or you get married, your order, you had an order, and your wife had an order, your girlfriend had an order when you were not together. Now you're together. Orders are different because mechanical processes were different. And the orders that have been created are different. Now, orders Through orders, mind finds a refuge, finds a home. Mind is looking for order, and through mechanical processes, it finds its order, and then relaxes, finds security, comfort, settles down. And that's how the mind interacts and negotiates life. When you guys get together, two people, you and your wife, let's say, your order, naturally coming from different mechanical processes, is comfortable for your mind, is different than her order. Her order is different than your order. So your order is interfering with her way of doing things, and her order is interfering with your order. That's why after the initial time of getting to know each other, which everything is lovey-dovey, and you guys try to put your orders aside and just be there and comply to everything that the other one wants, you kind of, things become a little bit balanced, and that whole excitement of new thing kind of subsides, and you start missing your order, and she starts missing her order, her way of doing things, and your order starts interfering with hers, and hers interferes with yours, and you guys start eventually compromising, and you eventually through time create a new order which is now unified, shared by both of you. Both of you become and follow this order, and your minds find refuge in that and comfort in that, because your mechanical processes becomes a little bit similar than when it was when you guys were single. So you live your lives and through your relationships with this new order. When things don't work out, boyfriend breakup, or wife and husband like you and your wife divorce, break up, separate, then suddenly you find yourself not being able to bring to fruition the order that you have come to be used to with your partner. Suddenly, in order to keep that order going, you need two people, because it was always now the two of you had created the order, and it needs two of you to make all those mechanical processes working. So the order now, you can't maintain it, you can't continue, because there's only one of you, and that order was being managed and administered by two people. So you're kind of lost. How can I make this order that my mind had sought a refuge in it keep going? I can't, because I can't hold on to the same mechanical processes. The friends we had are now separated. The groups we were joined together. The gyms we joined, the places we went, with the reasons we went to, all that is changed, and you find disturbance. And that's really have changed the whole idea of your identity, because you were identifying with that order. You had a story that you had set up. You'd get up, you had a wife and children or whatever, and then you would do this, take the children to school, if there were children involved or not. All of that had created a story. Now you're getting up and you can't continue the scenario of that story that was flowing through your life, and you were used to it, and you feel out of place. So really what you're missing is the idea of a relationship, the order that you were used to and found refuge and comfortable and security in it. And all of that is causing you that you feel a certain vacuum. So is it really her? No, because if it was her, you guys wouldn't be fighting and wouldn't have conflicts, and you wouldn't divorce. You would still be together. So it's not really that you were so fond of her character now, because you guys both changed. Maybe at one time you did. That's why you got together. You got married. But not now, because her character is different. She's changed. And if she's changed, that means she's not the one that you actually liked and fell in love with. She's changed. She's no longer that. So you can't be really missing her. She's changed. She's no longer that what you used to love. So what is it that you're missing? You're missing that order. You're confused and imbalanced because the order is not there. You think you're missing her because you remember when she had not changed. You remember that time. but you're not focusing on when she had changed and you guys had to separate. You're bringing that pictorial of her in your mind, but you're bringing it back to at the beginning where things were lovey-dovey, and you bypassed what she is today and how she behaves and things and interacts with you today, which was the problem. So you have her pictorial, but you have given her a different chapter of that relationship, and you see her through that chapter, her character in that chapter, and her physique, and then suddenly you have made a new girl that's not her anymore, and you miss that, and you miss the order. So what you need to do is to focus on all these changes and facts, and go and find yourself another relationship, because everything that you were getting, which included intimacy, sex, and all that, and the order, the comfort, the things that you were used to it, was being shared, and through her and interaction with her was being created in your life. Now, you can have all of that through another relationship, another woman, because the world is not all summed up in one woman or one relationship. So if you separate and understand all these, you'll see it's not her that you really miss, it's the idea of the relationship, idea of that order, idea of those mechanical processes, the idea of security that your mind had sought and found in that relationship. All of that is what makes you think that you're missing her, because it was her in that relationship. Just switch her around. She's not the same person anymore, so she can't provide that same atmosphere for you in that order, in that relationship. So you have to recognize that. Therefore, everything else can be replaced, but you got to change that actor in it. Find another, and focus on getting to know other people. Give them a chance and find out if you guys have enough things in common to establish and start anew. And when and if that didn't work, another one. This is how life is. Life goes on. You can't just pour all your heart onto someone and one person and continue it, even if that person has changed, no longer deserves that attention or doesn't have that compatibility with you anymore. You can't just say, because I chose that one, now if I switch that, it's like going against my own choosing. And I can't do that because I thought she was great. And in order to make myself feel great, I should still stand by the fact that she was great. Because in reality, you want to make yourself feel great, that, no, I didn't make a mistake, I was right. I'm so great because I was the one who chose her and made her feel, or in my mind, considered her so great. Don't be like that. Face the reality. Everything in this world changes. You change, she changes, everybody changes, I change. Everything changes, and she's changed. And that change and your change, it doesn't suit you guys anymore. You're on different frequencies. You weren't at one time, that's why you got together. Now you're changed to each other, therefore you go and find another tune. When the tune is not fitting the music, you can't keep playing it and say, no, it will be. It will eventually get used to it. No, it'll still be out of tune. It's not resonating properly. Go find another key, find another note. That note is out there. She's no longer that note. She used to be, but not anymore. And see her as she is. She's not the note for that music anymore. And what she used to be is not. You're not supposed to keep thinking of her how she used to be. Think of her how she is, then you won't miss her. I think that would be something that I would rest my case here and have a little bit of this juice again. Now, Sandeep says, how to get emotionally strong. I worry so much about parents' health, and they are now 55 years. I worry when they get sick. Yes, of course you get worried. You can't help that. You know, we all get worried about our parents. We remember how young they were and how they took care of us. And then we see them much different now, and that's not pleasant. I remember my mother used to take me with her when she would go play tennis. And I remember that I was watching her and trying to learn and see how that game is. I was a little kid. And I remember my mother used to take me to my horseback riding lessons and club that I belonged to. I remember how strong she was. I remember when my mother and my father would go skiing. And I remember all these when they were so young, and all the parties they would give, all the friends they would gather, the birthdays that she did for me, all the games she put together with my friends at my birthday. For all of us, for all my siblings, she did all that. And my father, how powerful he was, how educated he was, how helpful he was, I learned so much from him, and how hard he worked, and all these other things that I remember, the experiences that he would give, speeches, political speeches, and his work at different times. I remember all that. But then you look at it now. My father is passed away 6 years ago. My mom is 85 years old, a whole different stage of her life. So all of that is on everyone's mind. We can see the differences. And of course that saddens us and concerns us, especially when they need medical care and all that. It's tremendous. You can't close that emotion, but you just have to do your best. That doesn't have a formula. Vivi says, thank you, Mehran, for helping there and sharing your experience and wisdom. Stay away from ducks. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I read that before. The Ralph says, I worry about my 2 young children living with my ex-wife. She had an affair with my best friend. Ooh, okay. She shouts at them a lot and makes my 8-year-old makes meals for my 5-year-old. My ex-friend has no morals, and my kids look up to him and don't understand. He is starting to regret it. How and getting aggressive 18 months later. He's starting to regret it now and getting aggressive 18 months later. I have them 2 nights a week and they love being with me. Well, then you should have them every other night. Why 2 nights a week? Who has brought that rule? Go get joint custody and have your lawyers figure that out, and how important it is for the kids to have their father when the father is so willing and available. You have all the right to be the father that you want to be. And your ex-wife, of course, she sees what a shit she's gotten herself into it, and she yells and screams at the kids because she's realized her part in that, I guess. So she's not happy. And your idiot friend who couldn't keep his pecker in his pants now is going to pay for it by having to deal with all this. But you do the right thing. You be the best father you can be. Go to court and get joint custody for your kids, and at least be shared, so they'll enjoy their mom and they'll benefit from their father. And you will have a say in how they are raised and what they're exposed to. And have a heart-to-heart talk with your friend and say, listen, buddy, whatever the fuck you did, I don't give a shit, because obviously it was not just your fault, it was the wife's fault and your both. But now, listen to me. These are my kids. You better remember that. That's all. You don't have to say anything else. Because the rest of it, you deal through the law. You won't try to create any posturing. That's not helpful. Just let him know that you will be always there for your kids, and you will be monitoring, and you hope that he will understand the effects of the behavior of the adults in front of the children and towards the children, and that you will be there to help. He'll get the message. And the rest of it, you ironclad with your lawyers, make sure that it's properly drawn up what the responsibilities and expectations of a behavior is with the kids. And have our talk to your wife and say, listen, you got to understand, no matter what it is and who it is that you love or you like or you sleep with, they are not the father of the children. You must not leave them alone with these men, whether it's this guy or some other guy some other time. Don't leave them alone. You can't trust them. You got to be there all the time. And if something you want to do, you bring the children to me. And you got to be monitoring your boyfriend's behavior, because what do we know from him? Well, we know that he's your boyfriend, but he's not their real dad, and he's not their dad. And so you have to make sure that he would know that he has to behave in front of them in every way, shape, and form. So these are the things that you may want to talk with your ex-wife, but have your lawyers look into it. Madara Minushi says, hello Mehran. Hello dear. Age 22 male. Mehran, how to be mentally tough like a strong leader? How to develop mental toughness? Well, take everything that you need to take in your life seriously. Not overly seriously to not enjoy it, but serious enough to aware yourself, research things. Don't just be a leader by force, be a leader by wisdom and love and care and knowledge. That's a good leader. A leader who just wants to whip and get his way done could be a stupid person with a whip. He gets things done, but his own way. But his way could be stupidity because of lack of knowledge. You can't ride a horse by whipping it. A horse is strong. So life and things that you come encounter with in life are strong. You may be able to forge and force something into some kind of a result, but eventually that horse is going to get tired of your bullshit and is going to throw you so hard out that you can't believe it. But with communication and proper signals and understanding and respect, yet a firm hand, the horse will understand there's a communication, a relationship here. That's a leadership. So you can learn leadership by horseback riding. At least, that's the way I look at it. Because horse is strong and life is strong. So you try to be violent and forceful, the life will reciprocate. And same thing with horse. Try to be mean, the horse will be mean. Look, if you put your fist to the wall, to the wall, as long as you're not pushing, of course I haven't reached the wall, but it looks like I have on that note. But look, if I put my fist to the wall, as long as I am not pushing against the wall, everything is fine. My hand is okay, the wall is okay. But as soon as I start pushing the wall starts pushing back, and my hand starts feeling. So remember, if you push unnecessary, if you're violent, if you're forceful, without really wisdom and knowledge, you will have same coming back to you. You will feel the repercussions, reactions of your actions. So make sure your actions are knowledgeable, wise, and thought through. So brings you good results rather than thinking that you're a leader by pushing and beating and yelling and screaming and manipulating and all that. That can only last for so long. Look at the world history. How many dictatorial countries actually lasted for so long? They lasted for a while, but eventually they all crumbled because it's against the nature of human being to be dominated, to be forced on. People want freedom. So if you want to be a leader, make sure freedom, respect, wisdom, knowledge, flexibility, fairness is incorporated in your leadership. Otherwise, the rest is just brute force, and it will always be defeated, if not soon, but in the long run. Ralph says, but I can't have full access to them because I work and pay her money. Well, then there has to be some kind of expectations for that. You got to have your lawyers look into it and say, these are the conditions. But you still have to get joint custody. You must get joint custody. Don't let those children to be in the hands of that woman or whoever else. Both of you have the rights to influence their lives, and they need both of you. So even though if you don't have them half of the time, but you still have to have joint custody for the decisions that you would be making for their lives. This is very important. Go after it. Get that joint custody in place. Then whatever she wants to do, wherever she wants to take, she has to get your agreement as well. And you make that clear. These are the life of the children. You guys are responsible for it. It's not about suddenly she feels like going with this guy or that guy, or you feel like going with this girl or that girl, and the boys or your children are just supposed to follow every bullshit that you guys do. No. So create that balance through your lawyers. You support Nottingham Forest, yeah. Elhaj says, I'm 23 from Minnesota. I work full-time and go to school full-time. My sister kicked me out of the apartment right now. I am depending on girls for a place to sleep. Ooh, okay. How many girls do you know that they let you go from one home to another? Do you have any advice for me? Yeah, get your act together, get a job, and I don't know what situation you're in that your sister can kick you out of the apartment. Obviously, maybe she was paying the rent and you weren't, and or whatever. You should have put your name on a lease if you're sharing an apartment, so at least you'd be responsible and she couldn't kick you out. But in the meantime, just go get a job, make sure you have enough money, get a place on your own, or share with some, I don't know, some qualified person who is not going to be weirdo, or it's not going to be bringing all kinds of weird things into the apartment, drugs and drinking and all that, so forth. Someone suitable, and then build your life on that. And you know, if you don't have a place to stay, why won't you be diplomatic before your sister kicks you out? Obviously, I don't seem to think you're a crazy guy or you're unreasonable. I've talked to you several times before here, and I don't have a reason to think that your sister is an asshole to kick you out of the apartment when you have no place to go. But you could have seen it coming, or at least being more diplomatic to resolve the situation, so she won't end up doing such a silly thing before you have a place figured out. And you should have figured out a place for yourself. What's this, you know, a guy at age 23 living with his sister? What? Go get your own job. You're 23 years old and get your own apartment. I know you can do it. Al-Hajj. Vivi says, I like the music analogy a lot. a lot. Being a musician, I really appreciate it. Okay, good, good. Then I guess we hit a chord there. Follow it, Vivi. Anik Tiwana. Anik or Anikue Tivana. Hi, going through a rough breakup. It has been 3 months. I left the relationship but regretted immediately. Why regretted it? Because you only thought back about the sex was good, or she was sweet, or whatever. But think about who she is, how she makes you feel. Not just because the pleasure. I have a video coming, which is, I want every one of you see it. Focus on it. I'll tell you a little bit about why you guys are really missing your girlfriend, or why is it that you feel so bad when they leave you. Another video that I think it will be interesting for you to focus on, but you'll have to wait. As soon as I have the thumbnail for it done, then I'll put it up, or maybe I'll just put it up and then add the thumbnail later. So in the meantime, let's read the rest of it. I left the relationship, Anikue Tiwana says, but regretted immediately. I didn't feel satisfied, but miss her since we were friends for a long time. And Nick says she got into a relationship right away, and it is really messing with my mind. It is normal to want her back. Yeah, it's normal to want her back, especially because you remember the sex and all that. And now that she's moved on so quickly, you're offended. You're just saying, what the fuck? Now, you can be damn sure that it is possible that she'd already had this fellow before, like already knew him. It's not like just right at the corner the guy showed up, and that's why, you know, you guys broke up, because she already had figured out something for herself. Anik says, also I'm very social, extremely successful, and have no problem with the ladies. Then what's wrong with you? Go on, enjoy yourself. Don't let your ego direct your life. She's not with somebody else, and you are conditioned to want to be more and better than everybody else, as us guys always consider that we are alpha male, we are better than everybody else, and nobody's better. And so when your ex goes out with somebody else, even though the guy is shitty and from top to bottom you can see it, it cannot be comparable to you, but you want her to get her back just to prove to your own self, as a question comes to your mind by your own thoughts about you, and you want to prove to your own second thoughts about you that you are better than everybody else. You're doing it all to yourself. You're just proving it to yourself, which there's no need for that. So even though the guy is the shittiest guy, not even comparable, you want to get her back just to, in her mind, to be, I'm the boss. Well, I'm the best. Who is she? Who is she? What has she accomplished in this life that her opinion about you is so important that you're willing to go back to the same shit just to prove that you're better, and to have her opinion about you that you're better than this other shit that she was going out with? Who cares? Who is she in this vast universe? Just on Earth alone, we have 7 billion people at the moment. Who is she about these 7 billion that you think she's so important, her view and opinion about you? But we are conditioned to always seek other people's opinion, because it's other people's opinion that gives you a certain kind of affirmation. You feel good about yourself by these votes that you get. I have another video coming up which I will have to make. I've written the concept that talks about this. But for now, you have to focus on the fact that You don't need her affirmation, therefore you don't need her back. And you, just because she's now with somebody else, you think, oh, she's sought after. Fuck that. If she was that good, you guys wouldn't be separated. The reason you broke up with her is still there, still exists, still stands. But because she's now giving it to somebody else, you think, oh, no, maybe I made a mistake. I want it. Just like a toy that you had in the corner of your yard, or a bicycle you never rode, you didn't give a shit about it. But as soon as some other kid, visiting with his family in your home and wants to ride that and goes and picks it up, the toy or the bike, and you say, what the fuck, put that down, that's mine. I didn't even give a shit about that toy. But suddenly you want it. Why? Because we don't want anybody else to play with the things that we are used to. That's it. That's the same thing here. Now get over that. She's not a toy. She's a person who's changed. In other words, like she's a toy that is no longer functioning in the way that you used to play with it. That toy is changed. It's different. It's like you had a bicycle, and that bicycle is now changed, has got one less wheel. You don't want it anymore. You have to recognize that. Same thing with her. She's not the same person that you used to like. She's changed, and that's why you broke up. That reason still stands. And whether somebody else pays attention to her or not, that's the bicycle with one wheel now. You don't care about it anymore. You got to see that as the reality of the situation, not be tantalized and tempted that, oh, if somebody else paying attention, maybe she is good. Maybe she is good. You knew she wasn't good, but now somebody else is wanting her. Maybe she is good. There's a joke I remember. Nasruddin was a Turkish philosopher thousands of years ago. And he was famous to be very wise and come up with things and so on, but also, silly things and stupidities too. So Nasruddin is standing in bread line 1,000 years ago. Imagine that. And it's a bread line like 2 blocks long. And he says, holy shit, by the time I get to be my turn, they probably ran out of bread. I can't even buy anything. He says, what do I do? What do I do? Thinks about it and looks around and says, oh, there's a chimney about 2-3 blocks away, some industrial building, and there's smoke coming out of it. He thinks of something and says, hello, everybody, pay attention here. Everybody looks at him. The 2-block line up to the bakery. He says, you see that smoke coming out of that thingy there, smoke stack? They serve whatever the food that you like. Let's say they serve spaghetti there, or they say steak there. They serve a steak there. Give away. It's free. Everybody start running. It was Nasruddin. Everybody believed Nasruddin is a famous philosopher. So everybody ran away to that smokestack, thinking that there's a free meal being given. And it was now Nasruddin and nobody else and the bakery. But Nasruddin thought, holy shit, maybe they actually are giving the steaks away that way. So he started running the same place. He bought into his own bullshit, and he was at the end of the line again. So you are now doing the same thing. You recognize that this thing is not a good bike anymore. It's missing a wheel, and you got rid of it. And now somebody else is actually paying attention to it. You think, oh, maybe it was actually good. So you're going similar to what Nasruddin is. So don't fall for that shit. Stand your ground. Go find another one. She is not an anomaly. You're just used to it. Get over it. Anique. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And remember, what was our deal today, guys? You're supposed to let me know how old you are, where you're tuning in from, and if you're a man or woman. Of course, I figured out you're a man, but I don't know where you're coming from and where you're tuning in from and how old you are. That was our protocol, remember? And Kalani says, aloha, my brother. Aloha, Kalani, mahalo. Hope your days are good. Thank you. Hope you are doing well as well. Kalani. A voice from my homeland. I call it my homeland. Hawaii. I love Hawaii. Gigi says, I can't still move on. Please help me. Well, what do you want me to do? Push you? Get off your ass and move on before I bring the ugly stick. and beat you on the head. Get up. Gigi says, I can't still move on. Please help me. He's already with someone else, but I still can't stop thinking about him. Well, then, you know, does it help you to keep thinking about him? It doesn't, does it? So, might as well move on and get new friends and find compatible friends and move on from this whole setting that you have placed yourself in it. Life is not coming to an end. It's far bigger than one relationship. Go on, explore life. Don't waste it. Life is short. Don't waste it. Anik says, thank you, sir. You're welcome. Anik says, sorry, I'm 31 from North Carolina, US. All right. Now, listen, guys. Please click on the like before we end the conversation today. And make sure you share the videos that you like on your social media. Help us to grow and help us to be more visible on YouTube. These will all help. And make sure to go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. And acquire the book, Me, My Psyche, and I. Me, My Psyche, and I. And you know all very well that this is not a plug to make me rich, because the book's price is only $5.99. And that is the same book that in print is sold for $80. And here in Indigo bookstore, it was also placed for the same price, and in Canada. So, but I have invested, made all the books to be in the form of ebooks available to you guys, so it will reduce its cost and everybody could afford it, and nobody can have an excuse say, I went on your site, I clicked on the book, I looked at the video that tells me what the book is all about. It's 2-minute video. I looked at table of contents. I read the sample chapter because I clicked on the book. It opened up and let me read the sample chapter. I love it, but I can't buy it. It's so expensive. It's US dollar and our money. None of that shit anymore. I've changed it, turned it into ebook, and it's $5.99. Transient Thoughts on Me is $4.99. Breakup Pain Handbook is $6.99. And Me, My Psyche, and I highly recommend it, is $5.99. 360 pages. You guys get a lot to know about yourselves, about what is thought, what is thinking, what is consciousness, what is the relationship between the two, what about ego, what is ego, what about desire, how is it born, what does it have to do with you, what about fear, how does it affect you, how these things make you feel, act, and react the way you do in life, and many other things about the mind, the movement of the mind, what is meditation, how to do meditation, where is mind's home, mind needs a home. All of these things are in that book and many more, and I really want you all have one on your library and reference to it whenever you need to. The chapters are independent. You can read them as you wish. It doesn't have to be like a story. Just relax with it. Whenever you feel like it, read it, but have it there. So do yourself a favor and go there and pick that book up. It will do you good. I'm certain of that. And Gigi says, I'm 32 from the Philippines. Okay. Ralph says, I've noticed that some people who are moving on from failed relationship think that their future lives are going to be second best. I used to have that mindset, but if it was meant to be, okay, I guess the rest we're supposed to guess for it. Remember, guys, life is not set up as one relationship. It's not represented by one relationship or one person. So make sure that you take full responsibility for your lives, which means when things don't work out, move on and rebuild. That's what we are all about. Human being, resilient. We survive. We make things happen. And just an attention of someone doesn't make our lives amazing or make our life terrible. It's all up to you and how you think of yourself and what kind of ability and effort you put into building a positive life for yourself. Put yourself in a positive environment. Surround yourself with good, positive people. Have good, positive activities. Take care of yourself. Eat proper. Do exercise and have a good foresight. Prepare, research, learn things, and accomplish the tasks that you want to accomplish. And on that note, have a safe journey and enjoy your life. And don't be hung up on one relationship or one person. Things will always change, and you should be aware of that and embrace it and enjoy your life. Life is short. Okay. Okay, guys, looks like we have hit all the questions. I thank you very much for your time, and thank you for giving me time to share with you these opinions. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I look forward to talk to you again. I love you all. Be good to yourself, to the others. Share the videos on your social media, and go get that book. I highly recommend it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.